How do you break Psalm 64? Exactly. Who's the counsel of the weak? Yep. What are their plans? What are these unrighteous decrees that the Bible speaks about? What does it mean when they spoke as a dragon? Yep. You know, you got to break that stuff down. You can't just say, you guys got to stop with that conspiracy shit. Come on, that's low level. Yeah, that's a low level shit, so that you don't have to deal with the truth. That's right. That's right. Because the MOTV coming to pass is making all these false prophets uncomfortable. That's right. God, that's right. That's right. This is back in Psalm 64 in verse 3. It says, who whet their tongue like a sword and bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words, that they may shoot in secret at the perfect. Yeah, what does the scripture say? The words in his mouth were smoother than butter, yet war was in his heart. Yeah. So even when we see these various different news anchors, there's people with particular like social media influence, platforms and whatnot, they're now coming with a rhetoric that's like basically revolved around censorship. Yep. Your rights being taken from you. Yep. Literally, like that's literally what's happening right now. And most of the American people are just completely oblivious to it. Yeah. The mainstream media gets the bad rap now. Case in point for like reading off the teleprompter. But little do people know, even these right-wing channels, right, these other influencers set up on social media, they're reading off the script too. Yep. Right? It may not be literal. Be so much today. But they're still obligated to be going with the program. Yeah. Going with the flow. Because if they go against the flow, that's when they get rubbed out. Right. This is why you have assassinations. Real assassinations. We're not talking about that bullshit that goes on with the orange orangutan. Oh boy. Oh man, right. Talking about like real assassinations, like Kennedy. They actually shot Ronald Reagan. Stuff like that. Yeah. Because they're exposing too much. Yep. And they say, look, you work for us. You can't be exposing us like that. It just goes on. They don't, that's what I just said on top of it. Yeah. I knew you had that right there by that X. Yep. Matter of fact, if brothers can pan the cameras over there to kind of, just turn it on, that one's kind of got to be turned pretty much. That's the X. The X marks the spot. Yeah. That's where Kennedy got his head blown off. They got his wig split. I believe that might have been right there. Yeah, I can't really remember exactly which one. That could be that one. It only makes sense. Even though that's not what happened. Right. Yeah. It was the driver that, according to videos that they showed. Yep. At the end of the day, that's where it went down. And that was the so-called Illuminati's way of saying, look, this is what happens to individuals that don't play along. There you go. Right. He spoke up right against secret societies and everything right before that. And because that's how they deal with it. They pretty much do it public. Yeah. To instill fear in the rest of the people. Because it's intimidation. But that's right. That's right. And the secret council, they're setting up traps. And these traps are being set up in the way of the legislation they're passing and the direction that the world is going, which is benefiting them more than it's benefiting anybody else. Yep. Because as the rich gets richer, the poor gets poorer. Right. You have the poor, right, the working class that's paying 12 to 24% in taxes. Then you have the multi-millionaires, they're paying like what 0.2%. Get tax breaks. Yeah, they get tax break, and then you got the billionaires that pay like 0.5% in taxes. So if you figure the higher you go up, the more you have to pay, and the lower you go down, the less you have to pay to give the people a break. No, the rich are getting rich off of the poor, back to the poor, the working class. And that's what the scriptures speak about, that all the hands of the wicked are going to come together. Yeah, I'm speaking about that. So the whole world that's working is pretty much in a oppressed situation. Because they're fighting it's struggling just to stay afloat, to be able to survive. People don't need much. See, if you allow people to just have their be able to live, there would be no revolt. Yep. These devils are so greedy, they want every last little crumb. Right. We have to go to our enemy for the one of all things. Sure. You won't even let us it's how much. I don't even know how much like a acre of good land. How much does something like that cost? Probably upwards of 6 figures. Maybe more. I'm not too sure. No, it depends on a little bit. Yeah, but it's not something that's easily accessible to the lower class going into. So even just that, you're not I think you even have to have permits to grow your own
crops and whatnot, even if you do have land.
Yep.
Like, bro, it's all this extra when we can just let creation live and create.
Right? But he can't do that. He's the devil.
Exactly.
In Micah 2, it says that pretty much, because you have people that inherit these acres of land, but then Esau comes in with all this different legislation and all these different fees, and end up and eventually taking away from the people the inheritance that they have. You got some?
I got it if you want it.
Okay, bring it out, and then we'll go right back to it.
Okay.
You got it.
This is Micah chapter 2
You can start at 1.
and verse 1. It says, "Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds."
Right, because they can't sleep unless they do some wickedness.
Yeah.
You got it.
It says, "When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand."
Right, and when you look up that word power, it goes back to the word Allah, which is God. So they have that God-like power. So instead of using that God-like power for the benefit of man, so to speak, they use it for their benefit, to pretty much line their pockets up. So like, and Habakkuk just said, they can't have enough so they can set their nests on high. So they can be delivered from the power of evil.
Right.
The power of evil is the hard times that are coming.
Yeah.
You know, what the scriptures call Jacob's trouble.
Right.
And we see it happening right now. Like a couple of days ago, I went and got gas, right? The regular was like $3.67, $3.69 across the street from each other. I went back a day later, and it went up 30 cents.
Yeah, I noticed that.
$3.97 to $3.99.
Mm-hmm.
So if it keeps going like that, that's what they call hyperinflation.
Yes, sir.
Those are like the beginning stages of hyperinflation. So that's making the people, because those prices don't just affect you trying to get the worker back.
Right.
That also affects the prices of goods
That's right.
coming in. Because you know, when the ships come in, they run on diesel.
Yep.
And that diesel costs money. So they gotta pay to bring the goods here. So that price goes on to the individual wholesalers that they sell to. Then those wholesalers distribute it to retailers and pass that on to the
Right.
retailers,
Right.
and the retailers pass that on to the customers.
Mhm.
So it's always the working class that don't get to end go to the shops. You know?
Yeah.
So it's never, when Trump was saying put tariffs on this country and that country, it's not affecting those countries.
Right.
Because they're gonna pay it, but they're gonna pass that shit on to the next, and who's at the bottom of the totem pole? The consumer.
Mhm. Right.
And that's why it says all the hand of the wicked shall be
Right.
against them.
Right.
So the
Absolutely.
laborers, those are the main ones being affected by this whole shit that's going down.
And if I'm
Yes.
And even what's in stores now, that's not this year's harvest.
Right.
Right.
You know, that's not a fresh harvest. That's from last year. That's 2025. What's in stores now was harvest in the fields last year. And think about it, it's already a lack of what they're used to. You know, they'll say it's 3 years, 3 weeks worth of food in case of emergency in all stores. The thing is, it's not even reaching that requirement. So if now farmers in 2026 not able to put seed in the field, and that's what it says, 2nd Esdras 15, how the farmers will be complaining.
Yeah.
But if they're not able to plant seed now, coming, the spring, the summer, then what's going to happen for 2027?
Exactly.
You're not going to have stuff in the stores. And I'm trying to find it, but that's in 2nd Esdras 16 or 15. How it says, how the storehouses, before the storehouses be empty, you got to start with the fields first.
Yeah.
Come on, brother, you got it.
2nd Esdras chapter 6 and verse 22.
Everybody's hyped up.
Come on. Yeah.
The water.
17.
Yeah.
What you mean?
This is more than one. 2nd Esdras chapter 6 and verse 18. And it says, "Oh, days come that I will begin to draw nigh and to visit them that dwell upon the earth."
Right, and that's ultimately Yahweh Shai speaking, because he gonna be the one that's sent from the heavenly Father. This is the ultimately everything that's been happening since the world began until this time was all for the purpose of introducing Yahweh Shai to his own creation.
Yeah.
Everything is leading up to the Lord's coming, man. So that's the Lord talking. You got it, bro.
Verse 19. "And will begin to make inquisition of them what they be that have hurt unjustly with their unrighteousness, and when the affliction of Zion shall be fulfilled."
Right, now that's ultimately, you could say the whole world, because there's wickedness in the whole world, but the Lord, remember, end time prophecy, a lot of it points towards the Edomites.
There you go.
Point towards the Edomites. So the Lord gonna start checking these Edomites in the last days, exposing them in these last days. And it says also how we know that, it says when the affliction of Zion have be fulfilled.
Yeah.
Esau's the last oppressor. This is talking about, no, this is end time prophecy. You got it.
It tells you in the beginning of the chapter.
I'm sorry, brother. That's why it says, comfort ye my people. because the destruction of this empire is pretty much on the heels of the persecution of Israel. That's right. And now when you get to the end of the persecution of Israel, that's when the Lord is going to start opening up on Esau.
Right.
And that's where you're starting to see the shift of the curses, kind of like we're still under the curses, but they're starting to trickle over into Esau and the other nations.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Talking back in that,
Yes, sir.
that links up to Lamentations 4th chapter. We speaks about how the affliction of Zion shall be accomplished. But ultimately, our last captivity will be underneath the hands of Esau Edom, the daughter of Edom. Roughly paraphrasing. I don't know if it's paraphrasing that chapter, but going to show you that our last captivity is going to be underneath the subjection of the Edomites. So anybody that's in disagreement with, okay, the Edomite being a so-called white man, well, that means, we got another slavery to look forward to. We shouldn't be looking forward to redemption right now. So, but this is it. Okay.
Well, that's why it says it makes it harder to accept that. Because the Lord, is giving us hope. He's giving us everything that we need. But then here it is, we got these individuals trying to, bring us back into here, up under Esau, trying to put those yokes back on us. The Lord already broke those yokes off us. And you got these devils like Vocab trying to put us back under the yoke of white Jesus.
Right.
Fuck a white Jesus, bro. We ain't going back to no fucking white Jesus. That shit is dead. It's moot.
Yeah.
Look
Look at the fruits of it.
Yeah.
Death, nothing but death came from that. Death and being docile and going and running to take the jab.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? They was blaming white Jesus on that. And tying it with their faith.
Yeah. And then you got, the Roman Catholic priests, what they're doing to the altar boys and, the
Exactly.
little boys and come on, man.
Hey, come on, man. That's a solid point. Exactly. Even Jake saying that we got another 1,000 years. Like that. You know how much faith that takes to believe that we got another 1,000 years here? Like, there's never, ever, throughout the history of the world, there's never been a kingdom to last more than 1,000 years.
Right.
So to say that Esau got another 1,000 years on top of him starting at the top during the time of the Greeks over 2,000 years ago, like that takes hella faith to believe that. But that goes to show you that Jake, they don't believe in the gospel.
There you go. I was about to say that right there. They ultimately don't believe. They don't understand the scriptures. And a lot of these guys that make those statements and those proclamations are guys that are so-called scholars, but it shows that the spirit's not working with them. Because the spirit will knock on your head and be like, "Oh, I can't be that," because that don't line up with prophecy. Right. And that's why Yahweh Shai said it in Revelation, the 19th chapter. The testimony of our Lord is a spirit of prophecy. And that's how you're able to identify the right doctrine or not. It's all through prophecy.
That's it.
Yahweh Shai put the disclaimer out there in Revelation. And if you ain't abiding by it, you through. That's also why it says in Malachi, the 3rd chapter, in that time, when I'm making my jewels, they will be able to discern between the righteous and the wicked, who serve the Lord and who don't. Yeah. All right. The Lord has us right here to categorize on the right side. That way we can identify and spot who's wrong. Yeah.
And all you have to do is by a process of elimination.
That's it.
Listen to the different doctrines that people are teaching.
There you go.
And who doctrine that's teaching is the things that are actually happening worldwide.
There you go.
And then you decide. You be the deciding factor.
Yeah, that's right.
Is what we're saying the true, or is what the world's saying true?
That's right. That's right.
I'm getting me hyped up, man.
Hey, let's go, champ.
Going back to 2nd Ezra chapter 6 and verse 20. And when the world that shall begin to vanish away shall be finished, then will I show these tokens.
And it's like I give out may add, and that's why context is so important. I know the Apostle Tahar, he kind of big on that. He'll say, don't just read a verse up. Sometimes don't just read a verse. No, sometimes read the whole chapter. At 2nd Ezra 6, 7 through 9, remember, Ezra is giving this complaint. Right. Why are things the way it is? And he asked the Lord, when is all this going to be over with the Israelites suffering? The Lord said, Esau, the so-called white man, woman and child, a lot of times when we say so-called white man, a white woman to be passing, she'll feel a little better. A little white. No, y'all too. Right? But it says his world will be over with. So the world that is talking about vanishing away, remember the context of it is the so-called white man ruling. You got it. So seeing that this world is ending, these are the things we can expect to see. You got it, bro.
God. Going back 2nd Ezra 6 and 20. And when the world that shall begin to vanish away shall be finished, and I bet you use to go into that word world there, it'll link up with the Greek equivalent to aeon. It goes to age.
And then even that word vanish. The Apostle, you made a point of it just now about the transition. How you can see us coming out of the curses, Esau and these heathens, they've been being put on them, but that's Sirach, the 10th chapter. it's not just gonna be an overnight thing. It's at a transition from one kingdom to another.
Yeah.
That's gonna be a process. You're gonna see it like in a gradual state.
Right.
You know, but that's also that vanishing away. When some vanish, it don't just poof.
Yeah.
It kind of just like disintegrate and
What the Lord tells you when He judges, He does it little by little.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, that's how He deals. You know, He'll do bit by bit, piece by piece.
Right.
You know,
Oh, what's that? Wisdom of Solomon 11, the 11th chapter, around the 20th verse, it says, "For all the works of the Lord, He does it by measure, weight, and balance,
Yep.
and number it." You
Right.
know?
Yeah.
Now He could, if He wants to, He could do it. He could do everything overnight. But this is how He has His movie to be
There you
set
go.
up.
There you
You know, He decides to do things in increments and stages.
Yeah, and that's how why you have empires coming up, and while empires are coming up, the other empires that are in power at that time, they're starting to go down.
Right.
So what's diminishing? The economic, their monetary system, their military system, their political system, the influence that they had over the people, the power that they had over the people, is slowly but surely diminishing. And the more this empire that's coming up exposes their weaknesses, the less the people around are prone to to obey that
Right.
particular kingdom that's in power, and they start to lean towards another kingdom. This is why these nations think that China and Russia are going to be the next individuals to be the next powerhouses. That's why they're opting out of the dollar, the dollarization, getting into BRICS, instead of getting into NATO and getting into the EU, which you got to be a so-called European nation to get into that.
Right.
But these other nations are opting out of the dollar because they see the decline of America. It's happening through their finance. Now their whole situation, this invasion of Iran, which is not really a war, it's
Yep.
really an invasion. So it's exposing the weaknesses of the American military.
Right.
You ain't got it like that. Look, you can't fight a modern war with antiquated battle skills. So you're fighting a new age, new wave technology, in a new strategic way on the battlefield with old ways. That old shock and awe shit don't work for them. These nations are fighting wars of attrition. Rebels here and there. Fuck you up, exposing your whole shit. Here it is, you're supposed to be this top athlete coming into the ring, and this nobody that's supposed to have lost, all the odds are stacked against him. He's showing the chinks in your armor.
Yep.
He's like, busting right through you like if you was a sparring partner.
That was all the weaknesses.
So exposing them. So that's what's happening. So that's how empires fall at the time. Now sometimes they'll fall overnight, like in the case of the Babylonian Empire.
Yeah.
But even that, you had wars that were going on within the empire. But that night, it was pretty much a hostile takeover. So America is going to be falling, and they're going to be in decline little by little. And all of a sudden, the door's going to go with a boom.
1 hour.
That's right.
That's it. Bam! Suddenly,
Yep.
it's going to come out of nowhere.
Absolutely.
But right now, we're seeing the exposure of it. Like damn, you never think that a country the fifth size of America would give them such a hard time militarily.
Yeah.
And then they're shitting on their allies,
Yep.
NATO, the EU. So they say, fuck you, we ain't having
Yep.
your ass.
Let's stop
So
it.
now you're on your own. Now you're the greatest military on the planet.
Yeah.
Your munitions are diminished. And now you're using older shit because the newer shit, you can't keep up with the production.
Right.
Yeah. And the newer shit ain't working.
Yeah.
So how much less than older shit?
Right.
And Iran was fucking y'all up with old shit.
Yep.
And they still got shit that they haven't even brought out there. They're
Right.
waiting.
They
They
wait.
wait for you to come up in there again.
And we can't forget, man, these are Xerxes babies, man.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Xerxes had 1 million man army. As they talked about it back in that time, bro. These are the Iranians. That's why they got so much pride. They're actually even going back into their old history of who they were, and that's motivating them to fight against Babylon.
It's just like, you studying MMA, right? And then like you learn this new move. I said, I can't wait to get back to the block. New motherfucker, I hate.
Yep.
New move on his ass.
Niggas doing that shit.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
that's what
yeah.
Iran's waiting for you to come in there the second time.
That's right.
Hey, don't be surprised they hit him with some shit. You be like, God
Yeah.
damn,
Straight up.
because they already got you up against the ropes.
Yeah. The shit that they're talking, they ain't talking this shit blindly. Like they got power to back up what they saying.
Exactly. And the beautiful thing is that the strategic, see, it's about strategy. The area where Iran is at is very mountainous.
Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely.
And then the
Yep.
way that they have everything is everything is dispersed. Everything is not in one central location. Everything is dispersed.
Mhm.
Even among the leadership, they have a hierarchy which they obey.
Yep.
But even in that, okay, if this happens, if this particular individual goes, then y'all got
Yep.
it. So
Yep.
everybody has their own separate orders of what to do to keep things going in
Yep.
case of something like that happens.
Yes, sir.
So you fighting the wrong fight.
Mhm. That's why whenever they pick out the supreme leader,
Yeah.
you know, it just trickles down to the lesser leaders,
That's
and
it.
then and as America was attacking, you know, and killing them all,
Yep.
you know, it just started going into separate branches,
Yeah.
you know.
So they have a complex leadership.
Absolutely.
Although they still have one head,
Yep.
which they all obey, but it's more complex than
Right.
how the American government is set up.
Back in that
Yeah.
ancient world, Persian, Iran, they were the importance.
Yep.
Yeah.
The army. And I was watching the documentary. It was going into how, even though the ancient pagan Roman Empire is very well, heavily armed. They were very strategic in the military pursuits, but they had a problem with Iran back then. Iran gave them a run for their money back then. So they just kind of when it came to those other nations, Rome, they were just plucking those other nations apart. But they always had resistance when it came to Iran.
Yep.
Yeah.
So here we are in Rome 2.0, same thing happens.
Version.
Ecclesiastes the first chapter. There's nothing new under the sun.
Man, you couldn't take out Afghanistan. You in Afghanistan 24
Yeah,
years.
exactly. That little ass spot.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And you want to mess with Iran?
Yeah, come on, man.
Come on, man. And then they got most of this shit they got underground.
Yeah.
You know, and they know, brother, they've been preparing for this battle for the last 40 plus years.
Yes, sir.
Especially the last 20 some odd years.
Right.
They've been stockpiling shit. You talking about you took all this stuff out. Okay, so why they still
Yeah.
fucking you up?
They knew America was eventually gonna come.
Why isn't the Strait of Hormuz open? We
Right.
want them to open the Strait of Hormuz. Well, the Strait of Hormuz was open before you invaded.
There you go.
It was free. Everybody went through there free.
Piece of shit.
Now you went up in there because of them small hats. You thought it was gonna be easy. You thought you were gonna have a Venezuela moment.
Right.
Now they close the shit down.
Yeah.
You fuck.
Stop the world because you'll fuck up.
Yeah, and that's why in Becca too it says, the nations don't say. Matter of fact, let's get there real quick.
I got you.
It's 205. You can start at 4. Were you done with that?
Oh, it's a little.
Bro, finish that up for the brothers point there.
Going back to 2 Ezra chapter 6 and verse 20, one was in verse 22. Says, and when the world that should begin to vanish away shall be finished, then will I show these tokens. The book shall be opened before the firmament, and they shall see altogether. Yeah, ultimately, these prophecies, what the Lord said, will come to pass, and we see it. You know what I'm saying? You clearly see it. And it's like it's only a few prophecies left right now. But as the scripture says, what in Isaiah the 34th chapter, none of these shall fail, none shall want or make. You're seeing that take place right now, and it's clear as day for a spiritual man. Now, obviously, even these people see something's going on, but we're able to identify it for what it is because we have the scriptures to go back to, And plus, too, that's tied that it says what? It's open up before the heaven.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's broadcasted everywhere, through the internet, Verse 21.
And that's a part of because before destruction comes revelation.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So right now we're in the revelation process,
Mhm.
but the revealing has already been revealed.
Absolutely.
And this is why you have all this stuff coming out on these devils. I'm talking about like not just them stealing people's lands and resources and putting people to slavery, but just the underhanded shit that
Yes, sir.
rich-
Yes, sir. Yeah.
That's all a part of the revelation.
Absolutely. Because we look at the Epstein files.
Yeah.
Right before this war took off, and a lot of people are throwing rumors saying he started the war to get people away from that. Whether that be the case, whatever. There's a mass PDF file ring that got exposed, and they got the documents, and they're broadcasting it before the world to see.
Yeah.
Come on now, bro.
Hey, there's a meme that said that the war in Iran was going so bad that Trump would have to release the Epstein files to bring about a distraction.
Yeah. You had to go right back into them.
Just to bring a distraction to what's going on in the north.
Yeah.
They're talking about they want to have a sit down. And Iran's like, I don't know what the fuck they talking
Yeah,
about.
exactly. Right. Absolutely.
They already gave you the demand.
Mhm.
You already had to sit down.
You're telling you what it is.
That's it. And if you don't comply by that, they ain't moving.
Well, they said they'll open the Strait of Hormuz up once they expose the rest of those Epstein files. But we know they're talking shit as jokes, but at the same time, 'cause we know that Esau ain't gonna do that anyway.
No.
Right? 2 Ezra 6 and 21. And the children of a year old shall speak with their voices,
The women with child shall bring forth untimely children of 3 or 4 months old, and they shall live and be raised up. Verse 22, here's the point. And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown.
Right, and this is the point right here. Show the sown places. Going back to the farmers, what's in stores right now? That's in on the farms now. That's the year before produced.
Yeah.
So it says, then suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown. That's the farms.
Yep.
They ain't sowing nothing. Oh, you had the other day, farmers complaining about not only they food's not sprouting, but how the government been taxing them. You know, trying to force them to
Yeah.
that's it.
That's it.
You know,
Yeah.
That's if I may. That's how the Lord also, the scriptures say the prudent man foreseeth the evil. So that's how the Lord is going to catch a lot of people too, slipping because of that dynamic that the brother is breaking down.
Yeah.
You had to have been paying attention before the fact and preparing before the fact.
Yeah, and then you had, it's not just the fuel that ain't coming over here. You got a lot of fertilizer that goes through.
Absolutely.
So they ready, right? The plants, if they have the seeds and stuff, but they don't have the fertilizer.
Right.
And then the diesel is running short. So because they need the diesel for the big tractors and all that to do all that work.
Yes, sir.
So everything is breaking down. The whole mechanism is breaking down. So pretty much it's an engineered famine,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And that's exactly what they want: food as a weapon.
Mhm.
Because they understand when people are starving and desperate, they're willing to do anything to be able to get back to so-called normal.
Right. That's
But
right.
normal ain't coming back. Normal, the world before 2001 ain't never been back.
Right.
Then after the world, the normal, so-called normal world after 2020 ain't never coming back.
Absolutely not.
And it just keeps getting incrementally worse. We're in 2026 now.
Yep.
It's just gonna keep getting worse.
Yeah.
That's absolutely. And
It gets no better. Okay?
I
Not
was
ever.
gonna say it's also been found out that the government is trying to depot these farmers over their land, for these data centers, so they can build these data centers.
Yep.
Because these data centers are nothing but modern day temples and groves, man.
Yeah.
Which you got to be. Who has access inside the temple? Okay, the priests.
That's
You
it.
have to be of a chosen lineage. Okay, you have to have particular knowledge, and that's these particular technical experts, these engineers. Okay, these big techs. Okay, while the whole while, it's being found out that these data centers are basically drying up these cities.
There you go.
Out here in Abilene, Corpus Christi, that makes me think of that account in the book of Bel and the Dragon. How the spirit was upon Daniel to basically expose, like, hold on, this ain't no Bel is not no God.
Right.
This is men consuming these sacrifices.
That's it.
So that's a spirit that we coming in through the spirit of power of Yahweh.
Hey, we sprinkle, what was that, flour?
Yep.
That's
It
right.
does.
It's not on
You know,
bookmarks.
So you know what that flour that is a representation of now, the scriptures.
Yeah.
So the Lord got us sprinkling the
Yes, sir.
flour of the truth, and it's exposing Esau's fruit.
Mhm.
All right. And these
Man,
data
gang
centers,
say resist.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
and these data centers consuming that liquid oblation, that
Right.
drink sacrifice, man.
Mhm. Absolutely.
Consuming up all this water.
Yeah.
But it's a man behind it.
Yeah.
These data centers, they just didn't pop up out of thin air. Who built this?
Yeah.
And it's causing 15, 20, 25 degree increase in the temperature around. And the whole time, this nigga over here talking about global warming is y'all's people's, is your people's fault. Car. No, nigga, you the one that's doing all this crap, man.
Right. And just to add to that point, because we're going into the farmers and everything too. There's not even that many farmers left because William Gates of Hell has bought majority of that land anyway. Which a lot of that has to do with those data centers that's being set up over there. So these farmers that are complaining is only a small fraction of the farmers that we have left. Because it's either, you dry up all of that, you take all the fertilizer away from there, and you don't got that. But then you got fucking Bill Gates land and shit, the shit he's culturing over there, which is toxic and poisonous.
Yeah.
So it's a fucking shit show going on right now. Lose-lose situation for an inhabitant of the earth.
So since everything's so toxic, we got this engineered.
Exactly. There you go.
Come get this
Mhm.
slab of salami over here.
Right.
This
Homemade.
slab grown
3D
slab of
printed.
salami.
This 3D printed salami.
Yeah,
Yeah.
3D printed salami. Yep.
Yep. Because you have ticks that are now on these few farmlands that are left. You have these ticks that are called Lone Star ticks. They got a little white dot on their butt. But pretty much a tick bite from those can give you a disease which causes you not to eat meat anymore. You get sick if you eat meat. You know what I'm saying? So now you have these leftovers of farmers that are finding boxes of these ticks, in their area. And the ticks is already being let loose over there. So what do you think that's going to do? Going to bite people, get people sick. You're not going to be able to eat the meat. But what do you got to run to? Esau, for the one of all things, William Gates. I said William Gates. You know what I mean? William Gates of Hell. All right, Bill Gates, to get that fake meat. So ultimately, that's why Yahushua got to come back, bro. Right. Yahushua said it. The scriptures tells you no flesh shall be saved. At least those days should be shortened. You clearly see it. Look at the agenda. Look at what they're pushing right now, bro. It's death. You know, and they're trying to disguise it as technocracy. You know, it's all death at the end of the day.
Can I get the scripture right now?
Got it, bro.
This is Revelation chapter 6 and verse 8. And I looked up and saw a horse whose color, it says pale green, but this is the pale horse. When you read it in the KJV, it's the pale horse, which is Esau. It says its rider was named Death, and his companion was the grave. These two were given authority over 1/4 of the earth. KJV, it says the fourth part of the earth, which is America, says to kill with the sword and famine and disease with wild animals. Going back into the point, you know, this everything is weaponized here, man. Weaponized, monetized, ultimately to create this dystopian future. Right. Well, really not a future, dystopian reality that we're already living in.
Yeah, well, that's why it tells you in that same chapter, the red horse, you know, you had a sword that killed one another. So as you have Esau in the power seat, plagues are coming into play. And obviously it's the Lord that's doing it, but he's allowing these devils to, you know, do what they're doing. As the scripture says, only he who not let it will let it. So the Heavenly Father is allowing them to create mischief on the earth. That way he sends his son Yahushua down to sweep it up. But before before Yahushua comes on the earth and does all this, it's going to be plagues. It's going to be pestilences. It's going to be slavery, persecution, all these different things that scripture prescribe, you know?
Goes to show you how wicked Esau is, man. Like,
right.
How do you have a monopoly over 3 horses? The red, the pale, and the black. Like, damn.
Yeah,
Elam can be one. Like, Esau just, so that's why I was going to take that white horse.
Right.
How it's got to just come and take this man out of power, man.
Mm-hmm.
I got a precept. Going in.
I know you called her. Yeah, bring that and then we can get to happen.
Going into those farmers and how Esau Edom really taking them out. You know, this is Sirach chapter 35. This is Sirach chapter 34, verse 20. It says, "Whoso bringeth the offering of the goods of the poor are one that killeth the son before his father's eyes." All right, because they are really trying to take the farmer out of the way. All right, but yet they're killing them, you know, before his father's eyes because they want him to see that he has no power. Okay, verse 21, it says, "The bread of the needy is their life. He that defraudeth him thereof is a man of blood." All right, and Esau Edom is the main bloodiest man upon the earth.
Right.
All right, and with that, you know, since he's showing himself to be that bloody man, you know, and case in point, his skin is translucent. You know,
right.
You got it.
Well, that's why they got to come down having great wrath next. Because everybody sees their lies. Everything's about them being exposed. All their bloody nature that they tried to hide, and they tried to hide it in the sense of these guys are the bad guys, those guys are the bad guys. Now the nations are come together, ultimately seeing that this man is ultimately the bad guy. And you know, so that's going to lead him to come down having great wrath. That's going to lead him to an insurrection. You know,
you can't get the masses to comply when they're onto your bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you might get some of them. Some of them just don't go along to get along. Well, this is how I'm going to eat. This is how I'm going to keep the roof over my head, so on and so forth. But a majority of people, they're like waking up and smelling the coffee, so to speak.
That's right.
You know, so what is it going to take at that point for the elites to get the masses in order? Wrath, actual getting physical with the people, man.
That's right.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had this Revelation chapter 6 and verse 4. I'll start at verse 3. "And when he had opened the second seal, I heard..."
There's something called process of elimination. When we read this, we got to put a face to it.
Right.
Because we know that Revelation is a symbolic book in most cases. But there's some stuff in there that's straight up, but there's stuff in there, most of the stuff in there is symbolic, allegorical. For it represents something. It's parabolic. So man,
God. Revelation 6 and 3. "And when he had opened the second seal, I heard the second beast say, Come and see. And there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him.
See, that goes back hand in hand with the book of Job 9:24. The earth was given into the hand of the wicked. That's the power. They were given that by the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Shah, because he's the one that establishes empires and takes on.
It says, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth.
So who are the people on the planet that took peace from the earth?
Right. Exactly.
Because since America has
Sleazy.
been in power, right? You go back to the Greeks, you go back to the Romans. When America came into power, how many years? This is the 250th year from July 4th that America's been established. How many of those years have they been at war?
Right.
At least 200 and some odd years.
93% of the time, I think.
There you go. So if that's the case, other nations ain't fucking with you.
Right.
You fucking with them. You went, all you so-called European nations, the Edomites, you went and you colonized India. You colonized Pakistan. You colonized America. You colonized Australia. You colonized Africa.
Right. That's good.
So you've gone around the world and took peace from the earth.
Right.
You brought nothing but war because you are the man of war.
Yep.
Your blessing, your major blessing, is the sword.
There you go.
And the second blessing of yours is deception. You got it, bro.
Can I grab the scripture?
Yeah, Papa. Sure.
First Maccabees 1:1. And it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip, the Macedonian who came out of the land of Chittim, had smitten Darius, king of the Persians and Medes, that he reigned in his stead the first over Greece.
Right, and that goes back to the beginning of the Edomite Empire ruling. Now, when you go back into history, right, what did Esau do? The scripture said that he would revolt from under the hand of Judah. So they revolted from I forget the king's name. I think it started with a J, right? I believe that's it. I believe that might be it. Now, when they revolted, that would happen around like 800 AD or somewhere around it, right? Give or take, a couple of years or whatever. Now, when you go back and you do the research on the kings of Macedon, the kings of Macedon started their line in the 800s. So it could be, it's my personal belief that either all of those so-called Macedonian kings were Edomites beginning at the top, or that line was a prophetic line, grounding people, and then eventually down the line, Philip II, Alexander got in there.
Mhm.
Because remember, you had Haman. Haman was also known as a Macedonian.
Right.
And the Macedonians back then were trying to do what? Take over the Persian Empire.
Makes a lot of sense.
To set themselves up.
I can see that.
So pretty much, do that. That's what when they say that Pastor Raka.
We over here. Okay.
And the Greeks, that's you get this terminology of civilization started with the Greeks. No, you had dark nations that ruled.
Right.
But you fucking devils are so proud that you think that just because when you started conquering the world, that you're the one that put everything,
Right.
you civilized it. No, you destroyed everything.
Yep.
But your destruction of you destroying everything started with the Greeks, then the Romans, and then there was a pause, and now we're back during the Renaissance period. We're back to the Roman Empire all over again.
Mm-hmm.
You got it.
A lot of points.
Going back, First Maccabees 1 and 2. It says, and made many wars and won many strongholds and slew the kings of the earth. Getting down here to the point, verse 9. And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves,
Yep.
and so did their sons after them many years.
Yep.
And evils were multiplied in the earth.
Evils are multiplying the earth when the Greeks took over.
Right.
It wasn't, you had, before them, you had the Egyptians, you had the Sumerians, and you had the Babylonians, the Assyrians, Medes, the Persians, ruling, right? Peace wasn't taken from the earth. There were wars, of course, but they didn't cause the whole earth to be in the panic state that it's in today. The so-called white men, when they took over, the Edomites, they're the ones that brought all this hell and all this uneasiness to the world. They're the ones that took peace from the earth.
Yep.
Because wait a minute, there wasn't no world wars in the past.
Man.
And then these world wars that happened beginning in the 1900s
Yes.
were pretty much devastating. I'm talking about the planes and bombs being dropped. That destroyed, that changed the face of war. As the scripture said. Yeah, so
I got two quick ones real quick. This is Proverbs 29 and 16. When the wicked are multiplied, transgression increases,
God.
but the righteous shall see their fall. And who are the wicked? Esau. That's the border of wickedness pertaining to Malachi, the first chapter.
Yeah.
You know? And I got another quick one, really quick, because it goes into it. It's Jeremiah 12. The point is in 2, but I'll start at verse 1. But it says, righteous art thou, O Lord, when I plead with thee. Yet let me talk with thee of thy judgments. Wherefore doeth the way of the wicked prosper. That's what we're seeing right now. We talked about it earlier, how you had these elites or these rich, started with the elites, going all the way down to the rich, that pretty much own all the money. They own all the resources. They don't got to pay taxes on anything.
Yeah.
From a worldly corner perspective, it looks like they're prospering right now.
Right.
You know?
And that's why they give so-called, charities to charities, because those are write-offs.
Mm-hmm.
So they're pretty much giving money to charities,
Yep.
So that they can funnel it, pretty much laundering it through the
There you
charities
go.
and come back to them.
Go right back to them. That's it right there.
Governments, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a lot of these charities, it be their own charities too.
Yeah. Oh, they funded.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
everything. Like even like when you think about cereal, you got a different brands, like with Fruit Loops, Fruity Pebbles, whatever. But it's the same company, the same family running. They just got different
Exactly.
brands, so you think they compete, and they not though.
Mhm.
That's how Esau do.
So that's how they prosper.
Mhm.
That's one of the tactics how they prosper. They keep the money in-house. They keep everything in-house. The small hats do that like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
They keep everything in-house. They circle it around.
That's it.
That's how the Illuminati or the Rothschilds pretty much started their corporation. They
Right.
started in-house. He sent all the sons to different parts of Europe, and they started banks, and they kept the money in-house.
And that's what the scriptures say concerning this charity. Sirach, the 14th chapter. If he doeth good, it's not good.
Exactly. Now, he doesn't. He has an ulterior motive behind what he does.
And then when I'm at the grocery store, and they ask me if I want to round up 11 cents.
Right.
Yeah, I'll never do
I
that
want
shit.
a goddamn penny.
Yeah, man, my fucking penny, you
God
motherfucker.
damn it.
You gonna flip that shit into $100?
And then they be looking at you.
Yeah, they be looking at you.
Fuck you, man.
I look at a mean right back.
Yeah.
And then because they owe you like 2 or 3 cents.
Uh-huh.
You get ridiculous sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm on this one.
I won't.
What you mean? God.
Man.
This is back in Jeremiah 12, in the end of verse 1. It says, wherefore doeth the way of the wicked prosper? Wherefore are all they happy that deal very treacherously?
Yeah, and that's why I said when you stop dealing treacherously, they're gonna deal treacherously with thee.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty much we're at that point now where Esau's power and his influence is waning.
Yep.
Right.
Because his kingdom is waning. And it just so happens that come July 4th, that's gonna be the 250th year,
Yes, sir.
which is in about 2 months.
Yep.
2 months in about 3 days. So today, May 1st, May Day.
Yep.
Hey, too bad brother ain't got a phone. They could go online, so just check out the history of May Day. You got a story? Yeah, but you got it, brother.
Done. This is verse 2, and this is the point. And it says, thou hast planted them, and it's going into the wicked. Because we read earlier, going into the time of Alexander, how after his 4 generals, wickedness was multiplied upon the earth. I read earlier in Proverbs 29, when the wicked increase, transgression increases also. Well, the Lord is saying they've taken root right now. All right? This is Jeremiah 12 and 2. Thou hast planted them. Yea, they have taken root. They grow. Yea, they bring forth fruit. It says, thou art near in their mouth and far from their reigns. So ultimately that verse is telling you that, look, since wickedness is about, they've taken root. And you see that because look at the earth right now. All right? It started off with the Greek Empire when the Edomites got ruled. And then look what that's transformed into. And it's even crazier because the deadly wound was the serpent for a period of time. He was done. He was gone. Those Edomites was ooga booging like a motherfucker. Very low state. And you see the condition they're in right now. They got right back. Brought back from the ashes like a phoenix. And look what they were able to do to the earth in a very short amount of time. And of course, they blame it on what they did. You know what I'm saying? This is what we did, the technology, but it's ultimately the Lord. The Lord allowed it. He allowed them to have multiple industrial revolutions after the 18th century. You think about it, before that, horse, chariot, for hundreds and hundreds, thousands of years. And all of a sudden, these niggas made a car and then a locomotive train, and you have motherfucking smart cars driving around in a span of 300 years. It's a very short amount of time, but that's what happens when the wicked takes root. And the Lord allowed that. And now they created this technology and such that sucks out all the resources from the earth. You know, and all the resources of the people, not even just the resources. The people that are here, the employees, are building this shit up. You know, getting ransomed, getting paid the pennies on the dollar to build up this fucking infrastructure while these elites are really capitalizing from it.
Yeah.
You know?
Because that's who's really the ones getting. That's why the sick is cursing out who. Go to you now, you rich men.
Right.
You know, we can howl for all the miseries that shall come upon you. So if you're weeping and howling for miseries,
Right.
what you're gonna go from riches to rags.
Man, just straight up.
That's gonna be tough. Imagine you're a billionaire, trillionaire, all your life you're pimping, and then all of a sudden one day you lose all that,
Man,
and you're forced to be a pup, to beg.
Well, look at Antoine Walker. That's a perfect example. Remember they did a 30 for 30 on those athletes who used to play in the major league sports world. And guess what? All of them wasn't Jake. You know, there was a lot of people who ran through $100 million worth of fortune. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because they can done this.
Yeah.
Yeah, million.
Yeah.
Taking care of his own.
Yeah.
As long as he lost that money, everybody.
The same thing's going on with Adrian Peterson too. Yeah. Oh, next running back for the Vikings. He spent his money the same way. Now
Yeah, that's why it says when y'all do is good, don't do it.
That's right. That's right.
All kind of things.
Yeah. That's why Hammer kind of low key. I think he did a turnaround. I think at one point, he may have been responsible for something with Twitter or something like that.
Well, yeah, you know, he's doing those commercials.
Yeah, commercials. Yeah.
You know, I mean, he can make the money back.
Yeah.
He got, he got fame.
Yeah. Mike Tyson.
Yeah, Mike.
Oh, here's another example. 400 million.
That's the curse.
That's the curse.
You know, the point is, you use a certain lifestyle.
That's right.
And then when you have to downgrade from that lifestyle, you don't know how to adapt.
Absolutely.
Even if you came from nothing, you don't know how to adapt. But these devils, they were born into this wealth that they stole.
Yeah.
So they don't know how it is to do what bad.
And then these fucking Edomites, man. These
Yep.
fucking Edomites. These motherfuckers. Okay, because see, the white man's a devil. The white man is the fucking devil. You understand that shit, man?
Yeah.
They're hovering around here because this is the spot where Kennedy got shot.
Yep.
Fuck Kennedy.
Exactly.
Esau killed him.
Yep.
Right? Anyways, the whole that they talk about black fatigue. And you look on the internet, you look in real life, it's true. Niggas are dysfunctional. Niggas are degenerate. Y'all know. You see Big Shirley acting crazy. You see Pookie and Ray Ray. But who created that?
Esau. That's his creation, his Frankenstein.
That was his Frankenstein.
Yeah.
But now, them Frankensteins are turning on Esau.
Yeah.
I always bring this up. The like those old, I don't know if you brothers ever watched
Frankenstein movie.
the old Frankenstein movies. We little kids, we grew up on that. Dr. Victor Frankenstein created the monster, but the monster always turns on him. So these people say, hey man, when you create a dysfunctional monster, it's gonna turn. So now you got these niggas turning on Esau, Big Shirley, and they going in the Edomite areas, and now they're in,
Yep.
right? Hey, you created that monster.
Yep.
And you know what? You can say what you want to say about Jake, right? We get on Jake because we're supposed to. I can give you the scriptures. Isaiah 58:1. Oh my God, the Watchman.
Isaiah 2.
Ezekiel 33.
Oh, Ezekiel, yeah, you have Ezekiel 33, Ezekiel 3.
Right? We supposed to curse these niggas out. Right? We're in a position to do that.
Oh, yeah.
We're in a position to do that. But there you go. These crackers, they're not in no position to say nothing about that shit. You understand? You created that. Am I lying? The ghetto. Who created the ghetto?
He's gone.
Got that Mayday. I got a Mayday.
Who filtered the drugs into the so-called black and Hispanic community?
Esau, yeah, the devil.
And the reservation.
Yep, the CIA to be exact. Yeah, yep. There you go. Yep.
There was slurring project.
No, speak.
Yeah, well, with the CIA, like with Nixon and then when they had the war on drugs, they how they stated it in a reading that I was reading from an article. It stated they couldn't punish you for being a Negro or Latino. So the way they punish you, they funnel the drugs in the neighborhoods, and if you guilty by association. Yep. They repeatedly did the hell they did that in Chicago. Can't think of the other spot in Texas. It's kind of close where I came up at. And bro, the way they did Jake was hometown heroes. Brought them state championships. The darlings of Esau's eye. But once them drugs funneled, bro, they damn near had the whole that little part of Texas, bro. They pretty much had all of Jake locked up, bro. That shit had to be looked into, bro. Right. They bro. He is diabolical, man.
Yeah, because they know that under the 13th Amendment,
yeah,
you can't be a slave unless you hit with a criminal charge.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Post-slavery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had the what did they call it? Vagrants.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pronounce it correctly.
Yeah.
Vagrancy laws.
Yeah, vagrants. Yeah.
One of my uncles told me that. Like, bro, it was back when I first came in the truth. My uncle Alan, I miss him. He was awesome. He knew a lot of shit. He was in the military. He said, yeah, they got laws in the South. Well, back then, if you got only so much money in your pocket, at the time, I said, nah,
Making that up.
I'm going crazy. I thought making that shit up. But he was telling the truth. If you got if you ain't got no money on you, the sheriff can roll up on you and lock you up for being a vagrant.
I got something on that if you want it. She's on chat. I typed in vagrancy laws post-Civil War. It says after the American Civil War, many southern states passed vagrancy laws as a part of a broader system known as the Black Code. These laws played a major role in controlling newly freed Black populations.
And not just blacks, Native Americans as well. All of us.
What they had laws?
I'm Native American.
Yep.
Native American, black. If you wasn't white,
Yeah.
that applied to you.
Yep. They had those in the Jim Crow era. Jake couldn't laugh in public, man. Why you think that comedy club, y'all ever heard of the Laughing Barrel? That comes from Jake putting their faith in a barrel, not being able to laugh in public in the sight of Esau, in the sight of fucking devils, man. You're not making stuff up. This actually occurred. It's still on the books.
Yep. And you better not look at a white woman. Like that's why Jake walked with their head down.
Yep.
Because if you, God forbid, you glance in the direction of a white man.
Oh, yeah.
You see what happened to Emmett Till?
Yeah. And that bitch lied on that young man. All the way to her death.
A little bit more on this. It says vagrancy laws made it illegal to be unemployed or without visible means of support.
My uncle told me that shit, bro, over 30 years ago.
Yep.
And at the time, I believed him. But I was just so like, wow. You understand? Like, he was telling the truth. He's like, look, man, if you didn't have a certain amount of money in your pocket and the sheriff fell on you, that's your ass. You had to, oh my God. I remember him telling me, he was like, yeah, you had to have a certain amount. If you had $1 on you, they could lock you up.
It says it made it illegal to be unemployed, to loiter, wander, or appear idle. Yep. Refuse to work under certain labor contracts. Hey, if I can add,
Yeah.
that's what happened similarly in ancient Egypt. When you read the book of Exodus, the 5th chapter, Pharaoh, he basically said, basically like y'all are lazy. Get back to work.
People are idle.
Yeah, the people are idle. So yeah, it just made me think of that when you read.
Yeah. So these devils, they did some shit.
Yeah.
They gonna pay. See, this is the problem. You motherfuckers, right? You motherfuckers. These scoffers and these people, they get mad when we get on their ass.
Mhm.
But what does it say in Ezekiel 9? Beginning of my sanctuary.
Yep.
So we gotta get on Jake. We gotta get on Jake. Brother, don't feel guilty about that.
Ezekiel 11 tells you to prophesy against them, O son of man.
Yeah. Okay, Elder.
Yes. Well, it says, Ezekiel 11 tells you prophesy against the people that are in that scoffing spirit. Because when you're in that spirit, you're in a complacent spirit thinking that ain't nothing going to happen anyway. So I'm going to just talk shit about what they're saying. And in Ezekiel 11, it says the people that say this city be the cauldron and we be the flesh.
But why? 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 Why would you want to see brothers doing the work, man? Why? What's wrong with you, man? Yeah, you understand why?
Mhm.
Because you're wicked.
There you go.
Like, where's your camp?
Yep. Yep.
Where's your videos, man?
Where's your breakdown? Well, Apostle, that's why the scripture says in Hosea, the 4th chapter, that the Lord has a controversy with the inhabitants of the land because all the wickedness, and it goes into the list of it. And you already know that talking about Jake right there. Just to add to your point.
Yeah, because I dude, okay, we off, right? GMS, we off. So, okay, where's your video?
Exactly, right. Yeah, where's the truth at?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yep.
What's your purpose?
Show
Right.
us the way.
Show us.
Mhm.
Correct us. Teach us.
Right.
Okay. GMS, we off. A nigga, we did a video, right? A nigga, oh, y'all are white members.
Yeah,
I'm like,
spiritual.
I don't answer them this.
Yeah.
Because that right there, I need you low vibration.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do got white members. Can y'all break that down?
White is spirit.
Sure.
No, meaning that, we allow white people in our camp.
Don't say.
Really?
It just further shows they're not spiritual. Yep. I got a scripture for that real quick, if I may. This is Acts, the 13th chapter. And I'll jump straight to it in verse 41. And it says, and really in the NLT, it's a lot more for all the people that, try to say, all we bring is the KJV. The NLT is actually pretty graphic here, but I don't have it currently right now, so I'll just read it from the KJV. But Acts 13 and 41 says, behold, ye despisers, and wonder, and perish. For I will work a work in your days. A work which ye, and this is the point, a work which ye shall no wise believe. So they don't believe it, because that work is going into the Jakes that's coming in that look like other nations, that look like so-called white people. Right. So it says a work in which you will no wise believe, and they don't believe it. That's why they scoffing at it. And it says, though a man declare it unto you. And in the NLT, the Apostle Paul is pretty much saying, look, you wonders, be amazed and die. So pretty much in the NLT, what the Apostle Paul is telling you, look, you're going to die in your unbelief. You scoffing at them, well, guess what? That's going to be your fate. By thy words thou shalt be justified, and by thy words thou shalt be condemned. So it's a condemnation unto you that have that stance, pertain and pretty much your other stances against the scriptures, against the doctrine. It's going to lead to your death.
I got a quick one for you. 2 Esdras 15, verse 3 and 4 says, fear not the imaginations against thee. Let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee. All the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. Right now, one the elder Dara was, what is that? Romans the 3rd chapter. Shall your unbelief make the faith void?
Lucy
Yeah.
paraphrasing?
Yeah.
God forbid. Let the Most High be true and every man a liar.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, everything's being made manifest through the Spirit.
Right.
Like whether you believe it or don't,
Yeah.
you're gonna fall on whatever side of the spectrum the Heavenly Father got your lot designated.
That's right.
You're gonna fall on that side.
There you go.
You know, we just hopeful to be on the right side. Your unbelief is not gonna stop the Most High.
That's
Yeah.
it. That's it.
Oh, get Romans 10:3.
Yeah, he just quoted it. It's the spirit.
Oh, you just read that?
He just quoted it. Yeah.
Well, read it.
Yeah.
This is the book of Romans, chapter 3, and verse 3. For what if some did not believe? Shall their unbelief make the faith of the Most High without effect? God forbid. Yeah, let the Most High be true, but every man a liar.
I'll break it down, man. I don't gotta break it
Then a
down.
little more, I'll finish it off. It says, as it is written, that thou mightest be justified in thy sayings, and mightest overcome when thou art judged. So there's a particular message that is the gospel, essentially, that somebody's going to have in the last days of the planet Earth. And it's going to be being uttered, right? And that's going to ultimately justify those particular souls. For those who scoff against it, those who are teaching a doctrine contrary to Yahweh Bashem Shai, contrary to the truth of the scriptures, well, you're going to be found on that other side, man.
Right. And if I may add to it, and part of that doctrine is going up against the gates of the nobles. You know, like Moses and Aaron did, you know, because as we're talking about brothers getting ready to go into May Day and everything, and who started May Day and what that's about and everything. For the Heavenly Father, as we read it earlier in Psalm 64, exposes the wicked. So that's even part of the gospel as well. Airing out the wicked of Esau and Edom that did put our people in this fucking stumbling block. You know?
Listen, man, fucking, hey, see, people think we up here, Black Hispanics and Native Americans, and we just mad men, and we just calling out the white man just because we mad. The thing is, I don't think people understand how important it is to call out the wicked.
Yeah.
In 2 Thessalonians, the second chapter says that the day of Yahweh Shai, the Lord, who y'all here call Jesus, he can't come back until the wicked be revealed. Like, it is a big deal.
Yeah, he
The
can be called
so-called
out.
white man have to be called out.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Got the world to the condition that it's in. The air's polluted. The water polluted. People's minds are polluted. You got Sprite bottles and chip bags floating in space. You got
Come on,
everything.
bro.
You got a hole in the ozone layer. So before the Lord come back and bring judgment, the person who done it, you have to be told about your charges, man. So it's not just that we just mad and we playing a
A
victim.
laborer's holiday.
Because another thing that kind of be pissing me off, Esau say the usual suspect. You really the usual suspect.
Oh, brother.
Suspect.
Oh, my man. Oh, God. I'm riding with you. But the problem is, Shank like to be victims.
That's right. Yeah.
Because Esau dated them into that.
Yep. He beguiled the snake. Yeah. Eve was beguiled. Yep. In a sense, you know what I'm saying?
No. You right on point.
Yep.
Eve, the black one, the fucking weak ass black one,
Yeah. Yep.
that cleansed you from the swamp. But they're weak as hell.
Done.
And they destroyed. Hey, I did a video about 3 years ago with LD Ashwamba, Ariana. Hey, man, the black woman is a monster.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling y'all the goddamn truth.
Gone, Apostle. Yep.
I don't care who like it, who don't like it. If you don't like it, fuck you. Okay? The black woman is a monster. And brothers, stay away from the black woman. Until the kingdom.
Gone. Yep.
Talking real talk.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck that bitch.
Yeah.
Fuck her. She facilitates everything that
Yeah.
Esau.
Absolutely. That Gardenian pack. Watch that. Yep.
Oh, I did a video on that. The Gardenian Pact.
Yep.
Y'all feel me?
Mm-hmm.
That's real talk. I ain't lying to you, brother.
Gone, Apostle.
I ain't lying to y'all.
Yeah, and just if I may add to that too, you know what I'm saying? Because definitely Eve, the woman, and also too, I was alluding to just how Israel is represented as a woman as well, and how Israel has been beguiled by this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Of course, including the black woman for sure. You know what I'm saying? But even just Jake in general. You know what I'm saying? They've been completely bamboozled by the devil and is drunken the devil's. Drunken his juice pretty much.
Kool-Aid.
The Kool-Aid. That's right.
Hey, y'all remember that shit?
About with Jim Jones.
No, Kool-Aid.
Oh, okay. You actually talking about Kool. I thought you talking about Jim Jones making them drink the
I ain't
Kool-Aid.
made
Some actual Kool-Aid. We was talking. I forgot what man we was talking about that a few days ago. Niggas
that.
still drinking Kool-Aid. Yeah.
Oh,
Come on, man.
hold on now.
Yeah, yo. What they sell?
Hold on.
You like about some?
Hold on. What you guys know about some Kool-Aid?
Come on, man. Come on, man. We Jake. We came up in the world. We grew up in the world.
Kool-Aid.
Great Kool-Aid.
I was tough by the time you guys came.
Nah, when I was a kid, man, we was making Kool-Aid with no measurement to the sugar. We just pouring sugar in that motherfucker. Hey, you know, up in the half. Hell yeah, man, we wasn't measuring that shit. Pouring a third of that. And the Lord looked at the standard, and we here. Yeah, you're. You know, while the rest of them Kool-Aid drinkers walking around, through. Yeah, you know.
What you know about some Kool-Aid?
Oh no, son.
Yeah, Esau gave us something called, y'all remember Jungle Juice?
Yeah.
That juice in that little plastic barrel. And it had monkeys on it.
Yeah.
That was Esau, like mocking
Make
Jay.
fun of Jay.
Here you go, you little nigger, you little nigger monkey. Here go your juice.
And
It tastes like hella chemicals.
Yeah.
It didn't taste like regular juice. You tasted the chemicals.
Yeah.
in it.
And you,
Reds.
huh?
Y'all remember the commercials? Yeah, oh, you put bucks of water.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
And they get it.
To the wall.
Hey, then you had Tang,
Tang.
and orange, great.
Yeah. Remember the taste, you know, by the names of the flavors of it, you just remember which one you like based off the color.
Yeah.
Oh, I like the purple. I like the green. You know what I mean? Like that's bro. Esau's from fucking say, bro.
Hey, man, we're gonna get this devil. We're gonna get this devil. That's why the scripture say, thy heart, meditating carrots. Oh, we gonna fuck this devil up. Like, okay, look, brothers. Look what Esau did to the black man. And you know what? The sad part, that is sad. Because you get angry, but then you get to a point where you get sad, man. Like, wow. You know, I'm to a point now, I'm past anger. You, like, when you come up on a certain level, I'm not saying I'm such a high level, bro, but I've been around for a while. You know, you get to a point where you get past anger. You understand? And this is what I want you, brother. That's a video. Pause on around about.
So,
Later on, we're going to do a video. You get past anger. When you're angry, you're a novice. Y'all hear me? But that's okay. Because that's a level that you got to go through.
Right.
It's okay. It's fine. But then you get to a level, you know, you go self-doubt, all this other shit. You go through shit. You're gonna go through it. Y'all gotta go through it.
Yep. That's right.
Okay? There's no escape. You gotta go. But then you get to a certain level where you have what's the word? An epiphany.
Oh,
So to speak, in this truth. And you be like, wow. Okay. Hey, Lord, I get it. You know, the Lord be talking to me, man. You know? I know it sounds crazy.
no pictures, please. I'll send you scriptures. Thank you very much. I got one for you. Shot back in there real quick. You grab that Psalm 73rd chapter. You know, the Psalm of Asaph.
Oh.
You can kind of see the phases of anger and envy, but then it kind of transitions to water. It transitions after he came into the sanctuary of the Most High. Then he understood that.
Right.
So that's the position that, you know, we've been granted, you know, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shema Shah. Ultimately, mercy, man, of the Lord. Now, like I said, it's like, yeah, we're angry, but now we understand why. So now, ultimately, the main thing on our minds is to have our obedience fulfilled. Like it says in 2 Corinthians 10 chapter, after your obedience is fulfilled, then we will punish all those who remain disobedient.
Yeah. So you get to a level in this truth where you Understand. You know, I learned that from Apostle Paul. Y'all hear me? He was like, "Hey, man, I ain't mad no more. Years ago, we were mad. Now we're not mad. We understand. Now, don't get me wrong. I hate Esau. That's what Malachi and Romans, right? I hate Esau. These devils gonna put it on. And they're gonna. But it's all set up in the spirit, man. You understand?
They gotta do what they gotta do.
They gotta do what they gotta do. They had their time. That's our brother. He had his time to rule.
That's why scripture says you know pay them double. Double everything that they've done is gonna be doubled up. You know? And it's time for scripture speak about lamentations. It's Esau's time.
Yep.
It's his time to pay.
Yeah, that's it.
You know?
Yeah, our ass whooping is almost up.
Yeah.
Deuteronomy 30:7.
Yeah, I got one real quick.
Bring it out.
This is Ecclesiastes 7:2 and 3. I'll read it in the NLT. It says, better to spend your time at funerals than at parties.
Mm.
And really, that's what this is right now. This is the funeral of Babylon the Great, America. You know, of Esau. Like we brought out 2nd Ezra 9. You know, Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follows. Right? The scriptures also say the better is the end of a thing. All right, than the beginning thereof. Roughly paraphrase it.
Oh, isn't that scripture out?
What scripture? That was the better the end of a thing. I'm not sure what that
Yes.
is. Okay.
Yeah, 7th chapter. Yeah.
No, we gotta read that.
Yeah, he's gonna.
Oh, that's verse 1. Yeah,
Yeah, it's in the same
I
chapter.
was reading the NLT. It's like it says, Ecclesiastes 1. I'm reading the KJV. It says
7:1.
7:1. Ecclesiastes 7:1. Slakia. It says a good name is better than precious ointment, and the day of death than the day of one's birth.
And we fear death so much, right? You wanna know what, hey brothers? You wanna know why we fear death so much? This world we live in. I hate to say it, we're dominated by our mothers.
Yeah, that's true. That's the truth.
Our fathers might have been around, but the vibration of a woman is what raised black. You know? And some of us didn't really become men to the kingdom to the truth.
Yep, that's facts.
Like,
No, that's 100% true. I can say that about myself. Shit, I ain't become a man until I came to the truth. You know,
right.
and you know, even the Apostle Paul said it. I became a man when I put away childish things. The world is a grand childish thing that's out here, and we had to put that away to really grow and elevate and become actual men.
Yeah.
You know, that's why the Lord even said, "Make yourselves men." You know, so it takes the truth to actually do that, to actually make an actual man that the Lord requires.
Yeah. It says, "Folly is set in the heart of a child, but the rod of correction shall drive to far from."
Yep.
So that's when in the world we work with the mentality of a child, that's what we had.
Down of us.
The rod of the correction of the Lord drove away that far.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good stuff.
I keep going. This is Ecclesiastes 7:2. It says, it is better to go to the house of mourning than to go to the house of feasting, for that is the end of all men, and the living will lay it to his heart. You know, and the point is in verse 3. All right. And everything has to die. This kingdom has to die. This way of life has to die. And we've already internalized it.
Yeah.
Even we have to be changed.
That's right.
You know?
Put off the old man. Yep. Put off the new man. So that's it. Yeah. So when coming into this truth, that's the numero. That's one of the numero uno benefits. Yeah. You know. That's right. But the scripture says it tells you to mortify therefore your members on the earth. That's right. You know what I'm saying? Mortify means to kill off. That's right. You know, that's where you get like mortuary from. You know, mortify means death. You know.
Did you read verse 3 there? I haven't got to 3 yet. I'll read in the KJV and the NLT. It says, Ecclesiastes 7:3, it says, sorrow is better than laughter, for by the sadness of the countenance, the heart is made better. Now in the NLT, it says, sorrow is better than laughter, for sadness has a refining influence on us.
Yeah, well, look at slavery, if I may. When we were in slavery, Jake was getting fucked up, but Jake still had family structure. Jake still had a more of a code, more of a solid code. And even though they was involved in getting that Christianity bullshit pushed on them, they still had a code and a structure that's together. And even a broken clock is right twice a day. And I say this because I'm about to quote Charleston White, beanhead ass.
Yeah.
That nigga said pretty much the niggas that were slaves back then, you know what I'm saying, need to be enjoying the luxuries of what's given to us today. And these niggas today need to go through the slavery that our forefathers went through. Because now Jake ain't fit to get their backs beat and look at the fruits of that.
Yeah.
But when you look at slavery and we was going through, you know what I'm saying, Jake still had more of a structure.
Yeah.
You know?
And yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. You're right. Fuck that nigga. What? And I'm gonna say something. Them niggas got that talking points from us,
Oh yeah, for sure. All day.
but they wouldn't
All
have
day.
done that 30 years ago.
Mm.
You understand? Now all of a sudden, everybody wants to jump on the bandwagon.
Yeah.
Even and that's my boy, Kevin Sanders.
Mm.
Fuck him too.
Oh yeah.
Anton,
Daniels.
Oh, he getting exposed like a mug. He threw.
like okay,
Threw.
but you know what? I watch those dudes. I like their talking points, but their talking points sound very familiar.
Yep.
They sound very familiar.
That's family.
These things have been listening to us for years. But those things are stuff. He was stuffing us, right? 30 years ago. He was stuffed now all of a sudden. Because, you know, oh yeah, yeah. Getting on the black woman. Talking about how fat the black woman is. Who was saying that shit?
Yeah.
Who was saying that shit, brothers?
The apostles.
Yeah.
Yeah, the apostles. Y'all.
Apostles, bishops, and elders.
And when?
Yeah, shoot, back in the 90s.
Yeah.
Before the YouTube era.
Yeah, before the YouTube era. Yep.
Yeah.
But everybody jumped on us.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Everybody jumped on us,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right?
Remember that famous "You're a Slut" video?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We were monsters, man.
And the demon jumped out.
She started,
Yeah. Slut. Yeah. She's
twerking and shit.
Doc, look, man. I ain't saying this to floss. I'm just telling you the truth.
Yeah.
I've been in the truth for 36 years. I've been around, bro. I seen shit. I seen some shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've been around long enough to know what I'm talking about. I mean, I'm all fucked up now. You know, I'm not young like I used to be, but I still got it, man.
Yeah.
You understand? I see the shit. It's okay. You brothers, y'all gotta carry the mantle, man. You know what I mean?
Gone.
Y'all keep going. Keep telling the truth.
Gone, apostle. Gone.
Fuck these motherfuckers, man.
Gone. Let's
Yeah,
proceed.
y'all got it.
Cool. We gonna bring out a few more because we're gonna close that at 1:45. We started early.
Already?
Yeah, we're starting earlier now and ending earlier. You know what I'm saying? That way, brothers, when they split ways,
We're in a grass
try to
road,
avoid that.
man. This what Kennedy been is in.
Yo,
from that.
I wasn't
idea,
even
there.
it's still part of some brain fragment over there.
I was the apostle.
It's some ancient brain bone fragment down there still. Still some matter.
The echo. You gotta get the echo. You gotta get the echo.
Good take, man.
Which Oswald didn't kill Kennedy.
Yeah, we said that's the spirit. We said that earlier, Yeah. This is driving.
I got something else. Because as we was going into our people, and how they're wicked and going off, and ultimately it all goes back into Esau, like you said, Apostle. This is his kingdom. What's being done from our people is what he's allowing to be done. See, and that's okay because the Most High can ultimately get his lick back.
That's right, brother.
This is the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2. I think we called for this earlier. I don't know if it was specific. Point was around 6, but we started around 8. Okay, yeah, because I was going to read down actually to the towards the end. Oh no, okay. No, it's on the right. It's point past, but yeah.
Okay. This is the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2. And I'm going to start at verse 12. It says, woe to him that buildeth a town with blood,
Oh,
that establish a city by iniquity.
that's one of my favorites, man.
Yep.
Yes, and
That's
yeah.
Well, I was going to say, that's this man. So,
You
like,
gotta
when
put that down,
we
man.
were talking about the world wars, like when you look at World War II, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, like these things are still having compound effects in those people over there in that land.
Yes.
Like the deformities, like sure, just the mutilation. Like I don't brothers probably watched that movie Oppenheimer. Yep. Said what did he say? I am the harbinger of death.
He was quoting another God pretty much.
Yeah, the Bhagavad Gita.
I always word it wrong. Yeah.
Which is it's Elon.
Yep.
Elon book. And he said, I am become death for the story of worlds.
So even when you read up in this chapter right here, it talks about is as death and as hell, man. It can't be satiated. You can't be satisfied.
And they know because it's in the movie Planet of the Apes said, beware the beast.
Mm-hmm.
You will make a desolation of your home and his.
Yep.
You know, alone among God's primates. Shun him. Drive him back to his jungle lair. Let him not multiply. You know, that's what these devils know.
Yeah.
And in that movie, they showed you that Esau was in captivity.
Yep.
They know Esau's going to be slaves.
Absolutely.
But they made mockery of Jacob, painting him as monkeys and apes.
Yeah.
You know?
On the most recent one, so like, would you?
Yeah, you got to bring it in.
On the most recent one that came out, I think it's the second to most recent one, not the most recent one, but the one before that, with Woody Harrelson on it. On that one, pretty much, it went into the decline and the incline of the apes and their intelligence and the decline of man.
Oh, yeah.
You know, toward the end of it, Woody Harrelson couldn't even speak or talk no more. He was more ooga booga, while the apes got smarter, and we know what that symbolically represented. You know,
Elevating and Esau going back to their state.
that's right. That's right.
Because that's Esau was in that state, during the
Yes, sir.
the so-called Dark Ages,
Mhm.
and even before that. But during the Dark Ages, them devils went through a low state, man.
Yeah, very,
You know.
very much so.
If I could bring out a quick one, just to back up on Esau, when he came into power, he knew that it was his time to rule. Esau, he conquered other nations. He had the Israelites. He understood the scrolls in a sense that their forefather was given a blessing and it was taken from him. But I want to get this real quick in Wisdom of Solomon 2, just to back up that point. Now, this Esau, the elites amongst themselves, having a conversation about how they was going to rule the world, oppress the people, take all the resources of the world. And it's the ultimate point. Wisdom of Solomon 2 and verse 7, the point in 9. It says, let us fill ourselves with costly wine and ointments, and let no flower of the spring pass us by. Let us crown ourselves with rosebuds before they be withered. Let none of us go without his part of our voluptuousness. This is the part.
We'll close out on this one too, by the way.
It says, and let us leave tokens of our joyfulness in every place. Here it is. For this is our portion, and our lot is this. So Esau understood we have been given all this. Let's go make sure we take it before it's over with. So Esau, everything that we've been seeing is all calculated, man.
Revelation 12. He shall come down with great wrath because he knows that he has a short time. His time is up.
That's American history. Like westward expansion, him coming from the East Coast all the way to the West Coast. Manifest destiny. If you look up that term, basically,
They call it manifest destiny.
Yep. That's it.
These devils, they have no problem too. But now these devils, right? What they doing? They're saying that, like, they're trying to, and they use the shape poster child. Look at these niggas. They're going to Walmart. They're stealing. They're fat. They're black. They're devil. But that's not every chick, right? Not every chick is doing that. And then you got the other tribes. The illegals. How are they illegal?
Right. Yeah. Esau's illegal.
Right. Yeah.
That's it. He's the real immigrant.
Yeah.
He's a real.
Yeah.
He's a real alien.
And all they do is bring up the criminals. They're with the mafia. They're with the the gangs.
Yeah.
You a gang, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Yeah, what you say?
I was just saying a cartel.
Yeah, the cartels.
That's what you was alluding to. Exactly.
And you know what? Some of them are. Some of them are. Those motherfuckers, I say, yeah, get them out of here. But come on, man. The white man, he's the biggest gangster,
Yep.
right? The white man, man, he's man. Yeah, but that's why, what's that? Hey, Shaw, can we close with this? Job 24.
Come on.
Hey, brother, Lord, what are we close with that?
This is the book of Job, chapter 20, verse 4.
Hey, y'all gonna break it down, man. That's y'all.
Knowest thou not this?
Got it, Shapar.
God, knowest thou not this of old, since man was placed upon earth, that the triumphing of the wicked is short, and the joy of the hypocrite but for a moment? You know, and that's essentially the point right there. It's all for a moment, and it's all in vain. So what Esau is doing is he's trying to make it not for just a moment. He's trying to make it a forever thing.
Yeah.
He's trying to make it perpetual for water. You know, but ultimately it's all going to culminate to naught, because the Lord ain't going to allow that to happen. See, he's trying to blot out the sun. He's trying to create new creations. He's doing all this, and it's ultimately going to lead to his own destruction. You know, but that's pretty much the point, man. Brothers, I got that.
No, but
You want me to continue reading on?
yes.
This is back in the book of Job, chapter 20. Like, I couldn't hear you.
He just snatched the sun.
Job 20:6. It says, though his excellency mount up to the heavens, and his head reach unto the clouds. It says something similar in Obadiah.
Whoa, that's the precept on Obadiah.
Right. Okay.
That's why I said you need to bro. You gotta go deep, bro.
Yeah, space station and all that. Yeah, set his nest among the stars.
Yeah, come on now, come on.
Right.
You gotta learn to break these scriptures down properly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guys, this brother's pressed on time. Brother,
Yeah.
gotta get to work.
That's
Gotta get to work. That's all.
No, we don't.
We ran late last time.
Come on.
Verse 7, it says, yet, I'll read verse 6 and 7. It says, though his excellency mounted to the heavens, and his head reached unto the clouds.
What does that mean? You gotta break it down.
Like you said, like what he's going into, Obadiah. Though he's pretty much been exalted into the heavens.
It's satellites.
Satellites, everything, space station.
Yeah.
Even though what Trump established a couple of years ago, the
Space Force.
Space Force.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. So
Yeah, the grasp extended behind what we see right now into the stars. You know, Jeff Bezos.
yeah, like you made the point. Pretty much, you look at ancient societies, they had fucking carriages and horses and things like that.
Yeah.
You look at what this devil's been able to do. It's crazy.
Exactly. We had multiple industrial revolutions within a few hundred years. And
Yes.
within that span of time, they was able to extend their grasp all the way to the heavens. You know, just like in ancient Babylon, where they tried to erect a Tower of Babylon to get to the heavens, well, now they've extended even higher to the actual heavens.
God.
You know, so the Lord is going to cast them down. Not, I mean, physically from that, but, you know, in a literal sense, in a figurative sense, they'll be casted down. But ironically enough, their nest is up there. They got space stations and stuff.
Yeah.
Literally. They got
Satellites.
direct energy weapons that come from where? The heavens. You know?
And they didn't go to the moon.
Yeah, oh, hell no.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't go back neither.
With that lollipop head nigga.
God.
You ain't go to the moon, man. Go ahead, brother.
God. Verse 7, yet he shall perish forever, like his own dung.
It's like when you take a shit and sit on the toilet, you flush the toilet, like after they serve slavery, that's it. They gonna be stuck. That's it.
What? About
Finish up the verse that said,
No,
they
we
which
can-
have seen him shall say,
Where
where is he?
What's up? You want me to fight you?
Next
Man?
thing by Isaiah the 14th chapter. Did shake the kingdom.
You watch.
So ultimately, man, that's the point. Lord, when it
You
was at
watched
the
it,
point,
yeah.
all praise to him. The one that's against the apostles, the bishops, the elders, the great those
I'm too old, man. You got energy, man. You got bigger. You got that bigger. Hey, bro.
Shalom.
I love you.
I love you too. I love you too.
I love you, brother.
I love you too. Beautiful music.
Okay.
Music.
Good stuff. Yeah.